Hey, it's Eric Byler for TYT Politics. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has been reaching out to the African-American community by blaming Hillary Clinton's policies for inner-city gun violence and saying to African-Americans,
"What the hell do you have to lose?"
I decided to come to North Carolina A&T University to ask some African-Americans that very question.
We first have to fight to prove that we are human. We then have to fight for our freedom. Then we fight for our equality. And now we are fighting for our survival because your militarized police force thinks it's okay to shoot us at any point in time. So do we have something to lose? Yes, we have a lot to lose.
The rhetoric that he uses, the people on his campaign team, the people he surrounds himself with, even his supporters, it scares me the kinds of people he attracts. And so that alone, what makes me like fearful of him, because it's like if you're attracting bigots, you're attracting people who are misogynists, that scares me, because it's like, well, what are you going to attract in your presidency?
Donald Trump is very disconnected from the African American community. I feel like he only knows about it from what he sees on TV or people in his ear. I don't think he's ever really experienced what we experienced.
I say it again, what do you have to lose? Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. Detroit tops the list of most dangerous cities in terms of violent crime. Number one. This is the legacy of the Democratic politicians who have run this city.
There's crime in the inner cities, there's failing schools. You've had Democratic African-American leaders often in those inner cities, and that hasn't been working, so why not try a white Republican as president?
We did, George W. Bush, and we owe China trillions of dollars.
That was a huge fail.
I think the problem with that argument is that somehow city councils are really those elements of power that we need to concentrate on. With white flight went the flight of wealth. Wealth left the inner city, and certainly the propaganda suggests that the schools fail. These people just simply can't get it right.
Anytime you have large groups of people with limited resources in one small area, you're going to have violence because people are trying to survive.
I feel as though he hasn't done enough research, and he hasn't done enough digging into how we actually feel, how we think.
He's really speaking about black folks as though we are a social problem and not a part of the fabric of this nation. And that is really offensive.
In white communities, you see crime too. Poor white communities, there's crime too. Don't think they're removed from the issue at all.
40% of Detroit's residents, 40%, live in poverty.
Even after the Fair Housing Act, Trump's father and he were called to task for their discriminatory leasing. And then Trump has the audacity to blame African Americans as a group of people for the foul conditions in their neighborhoods when he wouldn't allow not one single one of them to rent in his Trump Tower.
If I'm elected president, this chaos and violence will end, and it will end very, very quickly. Police in Chicago, if they were given the authority to do it, they would get it done.
How?
You have unbelievable. How? By being very much tougher than they are right now.
Would you have to have a warrant to arrest people? Killed. You can't beat them up. You have to have a warrant to arrest them. You have to have.
All I know is this. I went to a top police officer in Chicago, who is not the police chief, and I could see by the way he was dealing with his people. He was a rough, tough guy. They respected him greatly. I said, how do you think you do it? He said, Mr. Trump, within 1 week, we could stop much of this.
But he didn't tell you exactly precisely how, because that's
no, and I didn't ask him.
What he's saying his secret plan is a much stronger, more extreme police presence.
Oh, to perpetuate the issue, basically. So he wants the police to be killing more black people. Cool.
We're already there. We're dying for nothing. We are dying for nothing. That's not fair. White people resist. There's a video on Twitter where a white guy was literally physically fighting 2 white officers, and they did not shoot. They didn't touch their guns. And so I just feel like you're not talking to the right people to get a realistic solution. And it's truly fucked up, because we're really out here dying for no reason. And